Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Chichen Itza in Yucatan in Mexico. And today what we have for you are some things you should know before you come to Mexico, because it is a fantastic country. I highly recommend it. The people are awesome, the food is great, all kinds of good stuff, okay? But here's some things you should know before you come. First things first, the language. Yes, you're gonna need to know some Spanish when you come here. Now, if you go to the tourist kind of meccas of Cabo or Cancun, like around here, you don't really need any Spanish because so many people have kind of learned English for the tourist trade. You'll be fine with just English. But if you're gonna explore more the backwoods of Mexico, and you're gonna explore more in the inlands and not just stay at the beach resorts and the all-inclusives, you do need to know some Spanish. And just some of the basics. You'll be amazed with a gracias, which is thank you, por favor, which is please, hola, which is hi, how it can really light people up and how much they appreciate it when you do at least try to speak some Spanish. I know for me, I speak Spanish, and when I'm going around, I'm saying hola, and I'm talking to people, and they're like, oh, you speak Spanish? I'm like, well, of course. Estamos en Mexico. We're in Mexico, you know, and we'll have a good time with it. And the people are so warm and so welcoming that it really opens them up if you do speak a little Spanish with them. So do learn a little bit before you come. Next thing you want to look at is the money. What money do they use here? In Mexico, they use the peso. Now, when you see it, the prices, it'll look like a dollar sign. That's the peso sign. It's just like a dollar sign, okay? And the thing is, they have bills and coins here. And if you want to get money out, you can go to ATMs to get money. If you're in some of the tourist resorts, some of the ATMs actually just give you dollars, but you get a horrible exchange rate, and they really kind of nail you with fees. So, for example, I took out $400 the other day. I had to pay another $40 in fees and not fees and fines and charges to get the money. So that 400 bucks, 10% of a fee, dang, they really get you. And the thing is, sometimes if you're in the tourist resorts, you really have to search for an ATM that actually pays out in pesos. So do look for that because it makes a difference. Having said that, if you're in the tourist resorts, a lot of times you can just pay in dollars and they'll give you change back in pesos, which is cool. But if you're in the inland and not the tourist places, you will be paying with pesos. And the peso comes in bills and coins. The bills that you'll actually probably see, maybe a 500 peso bill, a 200 peso bill, a 100 peso bill, a 50 peso bill, and a 20 peso bill. And then the coins, you had a 10 peso coin, a 5 peso coin, a 2 peso coin, a 1 peso coin, and then a 50-cent piece. You don't see the 50-cent piece too often, but you will see the coins out there. And you will need those because here in Mexico, you actually do tip when you do things. So if you're going out to restaurants or you're cleaning ladies and stuff like that, you do tip them. At restaurants, so think about it. Waiters and bartenders think 10 to 20% tip on there. The cleaning ladies, they really make their living off of your tips. They usually recommend between 50 and 100 pesos. So like $2.50 to $5, depending on how messy your room is and how big your room is. Each day when you're there, the messier you are, give them a little extra, because come on, you're the pig. So, you know, help them out a little bit, so you will tip when you are here. Now, if you're looking about how you're going to get around Mexico, yes, you can rent a car when you're here in the tourist areas. That's fine. Do be careful at night. I don't recommend driving at night, especially in the mountains, because it can be dangerous. And sometimes you'll see the cop cars will have their lights on. That's not for you. They're on all the time. It's okay. If you want to get around and not drive on your own, there's a really great extensive network of buses all around the country. And yes, you can fly between cities as well, but the buses work just fine. And what you should know about the buses is there are different levels. There's like the executive kind, the nicer ones, and then the more local buses you can go on to. And so I think with the local one as the experience of being with the locals, I practice my Spanish and have fun with them. And the executive one is more, I've got my Wi-Fi, I've got, you know, maybe a nice bathroom and stuff like that on there. And so it is a different thing on there. So remember, you will get what you pay for. So make sure you check around for different options for buses, but you can get around. Also, when you're going to get around the cities, maybe you want to take a taxi, always negotiate the price of the taxi before you go somewhere. Talk to your hotel or a local and ask them how much it should cost, so you know what you need to be negotiating to, okay? Also, I guess I would tell you about that is the public buses you can use as well around town. They're cheap, you can get everywhere you want to go, so that's kind of helpful. They just take a long time. Now, that negotiations thing, look, if we look at, like I talked about money and stuff, Mexico is a pretty affordable place to go. I'm not going to lie to you. We're eating really well on a fraction of the price in Europe or in the US and stuff like that. And so it is affordable. But yes, you do tip. But one of the things you have to do is if you go to the markets and stuff, you will be negotiating prices. Oh, they say 25, you say 15, we agree on 17. You're getting the taxis, you got to negotiate with them. They say 15, you say 10, we say okay. And you'll see is if you pay in cash, whether it's dollars and pesos, usually you get a better deal. In some places, if you pay with credit card, and you can pay with credit card a lot, they'll add on a little extra fee on top of your bill because you used a credit card, so you eat the cost of the credit card and not them, all right? Now, another thing people ask me a lot is, Mark, is Mexico safe? Look, just like every country, Mexico's got issues, just like the US does, just like Germany does, just like everybody. So what I want to say is here's some of the kind of more safety things you might want to worry about. One is actually the heat, because it does get very hot here and you will get dehydrated. So make sure you drink a lot of water, but do not drink the water. Montezuma's revenge, traveler diarrhea, is the real deal here. So make sure you do not drink the water unless it's bottled water. Ice, hey, that's frozen water. It is also not a good idea to have. Unless maybe you're here in Cancun or Cabo where they have a lot of tourists, then there's filtered water for the ice. You're usually okay. But you want to be careful with that. Uncooked foods, unpeeled fruits and stuff like that that have been washed, you do want to be careful with those. Other safety things, as a tourist, sometimes you'll get, they'll try to give you bad change. You're not sure what to do. There's a little rip-off kind of things. But that's the stuff that happens everywhere you go. So you do want to be careful with that, okay? Another thing you want to look at is going out at night. I don't recommend going out by yourself at night, especially if you're a female, so do be careful with that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the food. The food in Mexico is awesome. Look, the stuff you have, the Tex-Mex you have at your local Mexican restaurant, if you're in Europe or the US or Taco Bell or stuff like that, has nothing to do with the amazing food you're gonna have here in Mexico. The seafood on the coast, the goat near the capital in Mexico City, the sopes, the gorditas, the tacos, the things you've heard about at your local Mexican place, have them here. They're so good. Oh my God, the pork dishes here in Yucatan are fantastic, and you're gonna eat so well. Also, you're gonna drink really well. The sodas here, yes, you're gonna have to have a Coke here because it's made with sugar and it tastes so good. The grapefruit sodas of like Fresco or Squirt or Fanta grapefruit are fantastic. And what's cool is you wanna drink those with tequila. You don't lick it, slam it, suck it here. You enjoy the glass of tequila you have. Or maybe you put some grapefruit soda with it, and it is fantastic when you're here. And of course, you can't forget horchata. It's like rice water with some flavorings. It is so good. You want to have that when you are here, and you will really enjoy it, okay? Now, sometimes, like I said, Montezuma's revenge is probably your biggest safety worry when you come to Mexico as a tourist. And one of the things you'll see is the toilets. The toilets are fine. They're normal sit-down toilets, though sometimes you'll notice that the toilet seats aren't always there, so be careful with that. That's one thing I have noticed. And sometimes you do throw the toilet paper in the bin next to the toilet, not down the toilet, but that depends on the situation. I'd ask your hotel, if it's like a smaller hotel, what they recommend to do, or somebody's house, so you have an idea if their pipes can take it or not. So you might want to ask on that. Also, if you're looking at the plugs here in Mexico are just like the US. So if you bring your US plugs in, you're fine. It's the two flat ones going in, which is very simple for US travelers coming here. Also, with your mobile phones, a lot of the US carriers, they have Mexico plans. We have AT&T. It was free to get our coverage here in Mexico, no problem. So definitely make sure you check to see what your carrier has, so you can, get coverage when you are here, so you can send pictures and Instagram stuff up and things like that. Now, next thing I want to talk about are the people. Look, the people in Mexico are super friendly, they're super nice, they're super awesome. You're really going to love it here. That's why they're my favorite part of Mexico, is the people, because they're so friendly. I mean, literally, we're meeting people on the streets, they're saying hola, we're saying hi, speak a little Spanish when they talk so much. I mean, I've ended up at someone's grandma's house having quesadillas made for me because the grandma had heard when we're talking on the phone that I did not have lunch. Like, no, he must come here and have some quesadillas. And she made it for me. And the people here really are fantastic. And if you get a chance to meet them, go hang out with them. They really are super awesome. And the thing is, I've talked about all this stuff, but I haven't talked about what you're going to see and do here. Yes, you have the fantastic beaches. You have fantastic nature when you are here. Go into the cenotes, the sinkholes here by Cancun and Yucatan. The beaches all along the country, the mountains, all kinds of great stuff. But also there's great cities to visit like Guadalajara and all kinds of other places. So it is a lot of great things to see. Now, the last thing I have for you is when should you go? Look, high season is December and January, and low season is May through September. But honestly, you'll enjoy Mexico all year round because it is fantastic. So I'll say bye from Chichen Itza here in Yucatan, and have a great time in Mexico. It's awesome. Bye.